This week on Insects for Fun, we have a new listener request. This one comes from Jackson, who left a nice review over on Apple, wondering if I can share what I think is one of the weirdest insects out there. Now, in my personal opinion, there are too many truly weird insects, and probably even weirder ones that I wasn't even aware of. Like today's special find, the devil's idol mantis. The Idolo mantis is actually the genus name for this mantis, and this genus only contains one species, Idolo mantis diabolica, which is commonly referred to as the giant devil mantis or the devil's flower mantis. Actually, the Latin name for this species is translated to devil's idol or diabolical idol. This unique species is one of, if not the largest species to mimic flowers, and females can grow up to 13 centimeters in length, while males only reach 10. Their most striking feature, though, is their bright petal-like thorax and wide legs that mimic the shape of flowers. As for colors, they have hues of green, pink, white, and sometimes yellow, depending on their stage of life and environment. When they hold still among blossoms, they're practically invisible to both predators and prey. Another really beautiful feature would be their wings. These large appendages are often folded in, but when unfurled, they resemble stained glass windows with intricate patterns. So, where exactly do these diabolical idols live? You might be surprised to learn that they are from the warm, dry regions of sub-Saharan Africa. Countries like Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda are their main stomping grounds. Here they thrive in savannas and dry forests where the vegetation is sparse and flowers provide the perfect backdrop for their camouflage. Unlike some other mantid species that hang out in dense vegetation, devil's flower mantises prefer open areas where their flower mimicry works best. During the day, they blend in with blooms to avoid predators, and at night they feel more comfortable to move around under the protection of darkness. These mantises aren't just different in their preferred environments, though. They also have unique defensive behaviors. For example, when threatened, these mantids will lift up both of their raptorial legs high, straight, and parallel to each other, which not only makes them appear much larger, but it also reveals some intimidating colors and patterns. This type of display is known in the insect world as a dymatic display. Dymatic means frightening or threatening, and refers specifically to animals that use bluffing techniques to make themselves appear larger, stronger, or more dangerous than they actually are. Now, as for what eats the devil's idol mantis, their natural predators include birds, bats, lizards, and pretty much anything else that will notice them. These mantids rely heavily on camouflage and dymatic displays because they really don't pack toxins or special fighting techniques to keep them safe. That being said, they will try and fight back if provoked enough, just like any other mantid. When it comes to their diet, these mantids have evolved over the years to specialize in aerial insects like butterflies, moths, flies, and wasps. Unlike others who actively hunt anything that moves, these large predators sit and wait patiently for their food to come to them. Sometimes they even sway gently back and forth to mimic the movements of petals in a breeze. Now let's get into their natural life cycle before talking about their role in the pet industry. Devil flower mantises go through their mating rituals in the warmer and drier months of East Africa, which would be March through October. Both males and females reach sexual maturity around 4 weeks after their final molt, but females generally take longer, up to 6 weeks, just because they're larger. And just like any other mantis species, mating is a risky endeavor for males, and they have to tread lightly by making very subtle cues, such as light wing movements and body vibrations. They will also use their long antennae to connect with the female and get a better feel for the situation. Female devil flower mantises are less aggressive than other species, but could still strike and eat the male if they're underfed or uninterested. A large foamy ootheca is laid 1 to 2 weeks after a successful pairing, and inside are anywhere from 10 to 50 eggs. These eggs will hatch in a month or two, depending on the weather conditions, and it takes 6 to 7 molts over a span of months for these young mantis babies to reach full maturity. Once a mantis is ready to molt, it finds a safe place to hang upside down, where it can use gravity to help it push through the old exoskeleton. The colors on these mantids vary with each molt, and the younger ones tend to be more brown and yellow until they reach their 4th or 5th molt, which would be considered their adolescence. The colors reflect what's needed for their survival at that time, with the younger mantises being able to blend in more with opaque backgrounds. They aren't ready to lure in larger flying insects yet and need to stalk smaller prey. Okay, now we can talk about what to do if you have one or want one as a pet. I literally had no idea these were so prevalent in the mantis market, given their unique region, but they seem to be well known and quite popular. What's even more interesting is that a lot of the knowledge I got for this episode came from breeders, because there seems to be a lack of publications. But here's the thing, keeping one as a pet isn't for everyone, and to be honest, I don't think anyone should, unless they have experience with exotic insects, because the requirement can be a bit much to maintain a healthy and happy devil flower mantis. For starters, you'll need a tall, well-ventilated terrarium, as these mantids like to climb. Add a few branches and fake flowers for them to perch on, but keep it minimal. Remember, they're used to open spaces. The containers need to be at least 3 times the height and 2 times the length. And these guys like to hang upside down when they molt, so you really need something over 40 centimeters in height. These insects will also need a heat lamp to keep their temperatures between 30 and 40 degrees Celsius or 85 and 104 Fahrenheit. As for humidity, heat lamps are needed, but this can also dry the insects out. A relative humidity of around 50% or so should be maintained for optimal growth, which means that the cages need to be misted at least once a day. But the mantids themselves don't want to be sprayed directly. These insects are also picky eaters and can get bored of their food relatively easily. This means it's important to always provide them with a variety of live food. When they're adults, it's very important to give them flying insects, like butterflies, moths, and flies. But be careful about feeding them wild-caught insects. As we've learned before, wild-collected insects can harbor some potentially lethal parasites. And that's going to wrap up this episode. Please make sure to rate this podcast if you're enjoying it, and you can of course email me or comment in a review about something you'd like me to cover. If you'd like to get bonus episodes and ad-free episodes along with vlogs, then check out the Patreon at patreon.com/insects for fun. And thank you as always for listening.